Good afternoon. I'm at the Schaefer campsite, which is the first campsite outside Northcliffe, and the only one that I can recall that comes with its own dam behind me, which actually has a little fenced off swimming area, or barriered off swimming area in it. But it's never been warm enough when I've been here for me to feel like going for a swim. I guess in warmer times of the year that could be pretty nice. I want to talk a little bit about my navigation on the trail. I'm going to try a bit of editing later to see if I can do picture-in-picture and pop some stuff up probably in this area to demonstrate what I'm talking about. It's a 1,000k track. I'm not carrying any paper maps. The Bibbulmun Track Foundation publish a full set of maps for the track. I have carried them on track before, but they end up being a lot of weight for, in my view, very little benefit. They're at a scale that doesn't easily let you do proper navigation. So unless you really know where you are, they're going to be pretty limited use. And there's no regular distance markers or location markers on trail. Other than the campsites are named. When you get to a town, it's named. Most of the roads, when you cross them, there's no markings to tell you what road it is. So unless you were keeping track of different crossings that you'd made, you wouldn't really know what you were crossing, although a highway will be pretty obvious. So there's other things I do. The primary thing is a symbol the track uses called a woggle, which is a stylized, I believe it's a Dreamtime serpent. So it looks a bit like a wriggling tiger snake, although from what I understand, it isn't actually supposed to be a tiger snake. It's an Aboriginal symbol for a Dreamtime serpent. They're a triangular thing, and I'll put one up on screen, that I would assume there are thousands of them on the track. Most intersections will have one, and then occasionally comforting ones in sections of the track where there's nowhere else to go. But just to let you know, yeah, you're on track. So they're all over the place. Very comforting. They're reflective at night, unless they've been burnt by a fire or something. And a variety of the smaller tracks use similar, and more regularly is the Mudabiddi track, which is the sibling track for the Bibbulmun, but for bike riders, runs from, I think it's the Mundaring area, but not too far from the start of the Bibbulmun through to Albany. I've been surprised on this walk how often I either cross it or share short sections of the trail. Every now and then there'll be a few hundred metres of shared trail where it's not convenient for them to have separate ones. But for the most part, it's a separate trail. Bikes aren't supposed to be on this track. I don't know the rules on walkers on the Mudabiddi, but it's not well set up for that. There was a woman recently completed it for the first time in an outdoor wheelchair. A little cart. She's got MS and apparently was the first person ever to complete the Mudabiddi in a wheelchair. They've got a nice little symbol with a blue thing in the middle that I don't know the reference for. Maybe one day that'll be me. My second major part of my navigation is an app called Far Out. It started its life as Guthook. I originally got the app and bought the trail guide for the Colorado Trail. And then when I was going to come and do the Bibbulmun attempt the Bibbulmun for the first time, I bought, I think it was the Australia and New Zealand pack for major hiking tracks and bike paths. So I've got most of the big trails in Australia, as well as most of the major rail trails and things like that in the kit. And they've got kits, packs and individual tracks for a lot of the important trails, I think across the world, but certainly in the places I've paid attention to, you can generally get a Far Out app. It has a lot of features I don't routinely use, although when I get to Colorado, I might be using more of them. So in particular, users of the app can upload information on things like the status of a water source. Here it's less of an issue. The tanks are pretty reliable, although I know there's one coming up in a few days that's been contaminated. I believe there's jerry cans of water there now if they haven't fixed the problem. But by and large, I haven't needed to go look at the extra information. There's photos of sites and other stuff. But it has a zoomable map live. I can click on a point and see the distance from my current location, which will show as a little blue dot. My distance, so this morning walking into here, I set it to the hut. And then if I wanted to see how far I could go, I could just look at the app and it'd tell me how many kilometres approximately into the hut. So that's really useful. I haven't got it on. I use my Garmin Forerunner watch as a general keeping track of things. I start tracking before I leave camp in the morning. When I'd started this hike, there were some settings I had wrong on its tracking, which were really nice on battery life, but not so good on accuracy. So I'd be out by a couple of kilometres over a day. I changed the settings the other day and it seems to be within a couple of 100 metres now on a day, which different to what Far Out's telling me. So that could be the tracking, it could be I'm not always even or slightly different start and end points, but it is really useful. For backups, backups to that, I have a Garmin InReach Mini with me, which is a satellite communications device, but paired with its app. My phone has a map feature on it as well, so I can look at some mapping on that. Pretty limited, but it shows me my location, where I've been, and sometimes major features. On my phone, I've got Australian Topo Maps, I believe the app is called, that I've downloaded fairly detailed topographic maps for this part of Australia too. I haven't needed to use it yet on this track, but if for some reason I was away from markers, Far Out wasn't helping me, I've got a compass in my bag, I can pull out that. And I carry a spare phone, which unfortunately discharges over time, but I've got fairly good charging capabilities. So it's likely if I lose a phone or damage the screen or something, I'd be able to back up all my navigation using the spare phone. And I can navigate with the InReach Mini, but that also needs the phone. So that's the bulk of what I'm doing. Said the woggles are 90% of my navigation. A significant proportion of my use of Far Out is how far have I got to go? Because that's a real common question. Those last few kilometres into a campsite, especially on a big day, seem to sometimes really drag. So it's curious at times just to see what else is coming. And if I needed to get an escape or something, it's nice to be able to go look at roads and all that sort of stuff. That's probably all I really need to say.